Well, hello and welcome to another Financial Planning Solutions video here, especially for financial decisions. Linda Cartier, welcome on this very, very snowy spring day.
Yes.
We're talking about our spring newsletter. And of course, this happens to be the only thing that's green is our newsletter.
Yes, it's totally white outside.
It's April, of course, and we're hoping for spring eventually. But spring is here, and our issue is out, and it's on our website, of course, and it's mailed out to many of you as well, too. But we talked a number of things in this last issue. We talked about love and the cost of marriage,
Right.
which is really, some people say it's getting out of control. $30,000 for the average wedding is a lot of money.
Absolutely. And oftentimes one of the things you may want to be thinking about is save some of that wedding money, and that's a down payment on your house or something like that. And maybe you can have just as much fun having a more relaxed wedding and doing it in the park or doing it at your camp, and then not have to worry about all the paying back and that sort of thing, as well as a lot of the high stress in all these choices with the high-priced weddings.
You know, I'm talking about high-priced wedding, $30,000. A lot of people didn't spend that much on their first home a number of years ago, and we talk about that too in the newsletter. We talk about avoiding home buyer regrets and making sure you know really what you're getting into when you're buying a home. And also, I think we talked about a number of years ago about renting versus buying as well too. So those are some considerations that people are ever wondering. They can always talk to us about that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, sometimes when you're looking at downsizing and the options for what kind of home you might find is not there, it's not necessarily a bad thing to rent an apartment or a townhouse and enjoy, traveling more and not having the restrictions of looking after the snow removal, the grass cutting, and
right.
all those kind of things.
And of course, looking at the actual cost of a house, making sure you don't buy too much house for your budget as well is always a major consideration.
Interest rates are low now, but if they rise, it could be a real problem for anybody who's bought a bigger house than they can really manage.
Now, one of the things we talked about is the budget, the new budget that just came out, taxation. And of course, we just heard in the news recently how those with a lot of money seem to be able to avoid paying that much tax by going offshore. But for the rest of us, that's pretty difficult.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and I mean, actually the offshore, again, there's been restrictions, and there will be more restrictions after this. So earning money legally is always a better thing to do, for sure. But you definitely want to take advantage of every tax break that you possibly can. And when you're receiving your tax returns, if you don't understand why you've been taxed the way you have, it's a good idea to go over it with us and find out whether you did use all the benefits that are out there, or are there ways that you could reorganize your finances for your family situation so that you pay as least as possible and are able to save as much as possible to enjoy your trips and other family activities.
Now, in this budget, there's been some give and there's been some take. It seems like families are going to benefit the most. Yeah,
from a dollar perspective, people with children are now going to get the Canada Child Benefit, which is a non-taxable receipt of money, as opposed to when it was the Universal Child the Universal Child Benefit. Then you were actually having to claim that on your tax return and sometimes pushing you into another tax bracket. So actually, this is not only more money depending on your income, but it's also non-taxable at whatever tax rate you are. That money that you receive for the kids, you're not going to have to pay tax on. So that is actually one of the better things out of the budget.
Now, for you older folks, of course, having the OAS brought back to 65 is also a good thing as well, too.
Absolutely. There are a lot of people that were in a position thinking they were going to have to work a couple more years because that money that they were counting on from 65 on from old age security was going to be missing, and they would have to replace that somehow.
Now, all of this is explained to some degree in our newsletter, which you should be receiving, and also it's online as well, too, on our website. And we did talk a little bit about saving, of course, which is always important. And, I think that somewhere along the line, people have gotten investing and saving sort of mixed up a little bit. But you got to save before you invest.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard to make money without any money. And so initially you need to, be sitting in a position that there's more money left at the end of the week or the month than what you absolutely need to live on. And then you've got some dollars to save and set up that emergency fund so that you're not stuck going to a credit card every time you need something. And nowadays there are the specialty savings accounts, and when they're trying to attract money, they give you a bit better rate of return. Even though the rates of return aren't that great right now, for example, Manulife is offered a deal for their tax-free earlier in the year. Now they're offering from April to June to pay 2.5% on any new money that comes into their Manulife Advantage account. So at least you're making a little bit more on the savings rather than 0.25 in a regular bank account.
I guess we should close off by saying that one of the most important things is what you have left at the end of the day after taxes, and also taking inflation into consideration, because you really want to earn a little more than the inflation rate if you're going to stay ahead of the game.
Absolutely. It's one of the questions as people, are retiring and look at what do I do in order to protect my savings that I've built, and now I've got to go 100% safe, and they're depressed that the GIC rates are so low. But the GIC rates definitely don't keep up with inflation, and unless you just were given the 6 months to live, you're not going to get rid of all that money in the short term that you've saved. So you've still got 10 years, 5 years, 25 years ahead of you. Well, depending on your age,
Right.
and seeing as we don't know the future. So some of that money is longer term, and the only way that you can actually keep up with inflation is investing in something that can grow. And so there's a place for everything, and that's why you plan for the short, the medium, and the long term in order to enjoy your life completely.
The importance of financial planning and financial planning solutions at any stage of your life. Thanks very much for being with us, and we hope that by the time you're viewing this that the weather is improved and we're going to enjoy a good spring and summer.
That's right. Look for those bulbs coming up.
Goodbye for now.